Good afternoon and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation live, guys. We are live ahead of the game against St Mirren this afternoon at Ibrox, and I know exactly what you were all thinking. You're all thinking, let's see the team. Let's have a little look at the team news for this afternoon's game against St Mirren. Here is the team as it has just been announced, and I've got to say, I love that team. That is the sort of team that I've wanted to see all season. Yes, the two biggest wastes of space, the two biggest piles of shite on planet Earth are not in the Rangers team today. That's right. Cyril Dessers and James Tavernier are both on the bench. Hopefully they stay there for the entire 90 minutes and we're not cursed with their presence at all. Team is Jack Butland in goal and is captain today. Is this a sign of things to come? Jordan Brown says it's a much better team. JM says he likes that lineup. And Scott Hammond says, wow, no Tav or Dessers must be fake news. Yes, in the words of Donald Trump, it's fake news. Balogun and Proper in central defence with Hiefte at left back. There's a real air of a rotation to this team. I wonder if there is an injury to John Souttar there, because John Souttar is not even on the bench today. So I wonder if Souttar is injured. Midfield is three is Barron, Raskin and Diamande. I've got to say I'm over the moon that Raskin is in the team. Raskin was excellent on Thursday night, as was Connor Barron. As I thought Diamande was good when he came on in the second half for the injured Tom Lawrence. Cheney, Bayrami and Igaman. Igaman starts up front after his goal in the 71st minute against FCSB on Thursday night. The substitutes this afternoon for your Rangers team are as follows: Kelly, Tavernier, Dessers, Dowell, Sterling, McCausland, Fraser, McKinnon and Lovelace are on the bench. I certainly hope that if we need an attacking change, it is Lovelace that comes on before the very, very useless Cyril Dessers. The guy is an absolute fucking joke, as is the so-called captain, James the shitbag Tavernier. But that team, I'm impressed with that team. I think that's a decent team. I do have to say, I do, slightly agree with what Richard has to say, that Proper is the weakest link in that back four. I think it was very telling for me that when Balogun went off injured on Thursday night, a lot of the mistakes and errors from the back four came as a result of bad play from Robin Proper. And there was a moment in that second half where he plays Connor Barron into a whole world of hurt. Barron is under pressure, loses the ball, ends up fouling the player and getting booked. That was down to bad play by Proper. Hiefte at left back, I mean, that's pretty good news. I think, Hiefte has kind of made that left back slot his own. Still no place for Ridvan on the bench. He's still obviously not fully fit enough to keep this key to actually get an appearance. It's good to see Dessers and Tav are on the bench. That's a good setup. Yeah, I think that's a good side. I think that's a very good, positive selection from Philippe Clement. Perhaps the penny has finally dropped. Perhaps, it is, finally dropping with him that James Tavernier and Cyril Dessers are by far the weakest links in this Rangers team. Massive weak links in this team. Huge weak links team in this team. The midfield, I think, Barron and Raskin, hopefully, they can dominate in the same way that they dominated on Thursday night. I thought they were both absolutely superb on Thursday. They were absolutely brilliant. Really genuinely are, they were absolutely brilliant. Just top quality. Real quality there. It is. I'm actually quite shocked. I'm actually really shocked at this point. Actually, to be honest with you, I honestly believe that Dessers and Tav would start. They are just both useless. They are both absolutely useless. Midfield three. I think that's a very powerful midfield three. I think that's a decent midfield three. Barron, Raskin and Diamande. Barron and Raskin, I want them to get the dominance there, get the control there of the midfield. Bayrami, I would still love to see Bayrami in the 10 role. I'd love to see him given a run out in that 10 role. I do think that is a place that he can thrill. No, I'm going to use 15 different words there. Excel and thrill. Cheney, obviously, no surprise. I thought Cheney was very good Thursday night. Hopefully, we can get a reproduction of that tonight. this afternoon, this evening, whenever 3 o'clock is, pre-evening, I don't know what it is. And Hamza Igman starts up front. Good to see Hamza get the start up front. I think the other positive from that is that I think the other positive from that is that Igman holds the ball up a hell of a lot better than Cyril Dessers. Now, one of the big criticisms of Rangers when they attack is that Dessers doesn't hold the ball up, so the forward 3 players, the 3 behind the striker, can't break beyond him. They can't run past him because they've got no confidence that he's going to bring the ball under control and play them in. Whereas with Hamza Igman, he can hold the ball up. He does bring others into play, and I think that, for me, would be much better for Cheney, much better for Bayrami, and much better for Dio. So I think that is a big positive today, a massive positive. Chris says, I just hope if Big Cass and Igman play well, they don't get dropped for the Sheepshaggers midweek. I think, I'll be absolutely honest with you, Chris, and I'm going to be wholly honest with all of you out there. You all do know that come Wednesday night when we play Aberdeen, that Tavernier and Dessers will both be back in the team and back in the starting lineup. Clement will just say it's rotation. That's all he'll say, that he's rotating Tav and Dessers, that they can't play every game. We know that. We know that's the case. I mean, that's it. What else I think? Did Dessers go off in a huff? No, I think he went off injured, mate. I think he was just upset about being injured. 6-0 today. Igman hat-trick, says Graham Brown. Now that Clement has done what most of us wanted, we need to smash it today. Absolutely, Scott. We do need a top performance. Hello. Fans can't complain if this goes wrong. Agreed. Got the feeling it'd be a sloppy 1-0, lol. Best team sheet in months, says Sid. Hope Tav and Dessers aren't being rested for Wednesday. James Lewis is a bit harsh on Tav. Okay, not his best anymore, but he was a great 7 for Rangers. And Dessers, shame for the guy. Like the boy. You should chill, English boy. James, I'm going to tell you something out straight away now. I fucking hate James Tavernier and I fucking hate Cyril Dessers with a passion, both of them. I don't want to ever see them in a Rangers shirt again. If they never played for Rangers again, mate, I would be more than happy. And chill, English boy, that's a tad racist, mate. Tad racist. If I called you chilled Scottish boy or referred to your colour or your race or your religion, then that would be racist. So if you're going to come on here, be racist, do one, mate. Do one, seriously. Got no time for people like you. In the words of Mark Goldbridge, you are a turbo prat. Hope they don't on Wednesday, or Sheep will win. Tav is finished. I honestly believe that he'll be back on Wednesday. I do believe that. Captain Caveman and George of the Jungle out. The best news for me today. Owen Proper is a shoot too. Absolutely. Owen, funny. Thank you. I think Cyril temporarily lost his vision on Thursday. Yeah, that's what I heard as well, Blue Nose. It was a little bit of temporary vision loss that led to him going off. 100%. Afternoon, John. How you doing, buddy? Good to have you here. Kyle says, if PC plays Tav and Dessers against Aberdeen after a good performance today and we get beat, it will be the end for Clement. I mean, I think he's going to argue, and I think we all know that he is going to argue that this is all about rotation. This is all about, resting players, given the fact we've got the game on Wednesday, that we've played Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. I think, that's the argument that he will use. He will say that he's resting Tav, he's resting Dessers. So I think that will be definitely the case. For me, I think that will be what he's doing as regards that one. I don't think this is the case of it's a permanent thing that Tav and Dessers won't have been dropped now, and it's Cass's and Igman's place to lose. I think back in the old days that was certainly the case, wasn't it? When you had your starting 11s and they were your starting 11s, no matter what, you got a shirt, and if you played well, you kept your shirt, didn't you, for the rest of the season, or until you were injured or got dropped or whatever. But it just doesn't work like that, does it? Igman scoring the other night wouldn't help Dessers' confidence anyways. Very true. Proper, like Lammers, was decent in the Eredivisie. I agree with that one. He is very good in the Eredivisie, but just not very good in Scotland. I think a lot of people kind of underestimate Scottish football, underestimate British football. There is a massive difference in speed, in physicality, in toughness to playing in the English game and the Scottish game. You get players who are great successes on the continent playing in the Italian leagues and the Spanish leagues and the French leagues, and then they come to play in England or in Scotland and they're a disaster because they can't cope with the physicality, they can't cope with the speed, they just can't cope with it, and it's just who they are. It just, it is who they are. Dessers would have missed the Igman goal. I agree with that. Dessers wouldn't have scored the Igman goal. He probably would have skied it or hit it straight at the goalkeeper. Afternoon, Bears. Hi, Stuart. How you doing, buddy? Proper and Diamande best suited for Europe, not the Scottish League. Graham Brown, I think you've got a point on Proper. I'll kind of hold judgment on Dio because he's still a very young footballer. He's still learning his trade. I think Dio has got an awful lot to improve on. Don't get me wrong. I do think, at times he's a little light. I think at times that, he isn't perhaps, it doesn't show the player he's capable of being. I agree with that. I think the problem you've got with Dio is that, he needs time to mature. He needs time to turn into the player that we all hope he can be. He's been held up, hasn't he, as the great white hope of the trading model, if that's not a weird thing to say or a racist thing to say, I don't know. He's only 22 years old and he's held up as being the big hope for this trading model. That he is the player that we've signed for, I think, £4.5 million, and we're going to sell him for 15-20 million in the future to the English leagues or to one of the continental leagues, one of the top 5 leagues in Europe. That's the big hope. So there is a slight concern there. P. Curry makes a good point here. Yeah, Joey Barton shattered up here in his prime. He did. Absolutely. Barton or talk embarrassing our club. If Igman kicks on, does that silence the Shankland talk? Have on the bench. Yes, he is caught proper. Airwolf, no, I don't think it does. I think for a couple of reasons. I'm going to rephrase that a little bit, Airwolf, with what you're saying, mate. So what I'm going to say is this: I don't think it silences the striker talk. That's what I'm going to say. It doesn't silence the striker talk. I think there is still a need for a striker at the club. I think, we've got Danilo, obviously, who is injured an awful lot. We've got a situation where, he's always out. Igman is still a young lad. He's still learning the game. He's still, coming through. And Dessers is just useless. So I think, there is a case that we will still go in for a striker. As for Shankland, I don't think that there is any truth in the Shankland rumours. I honestly don't think. I don't think that it is a viable link. I genuinely don't believe that anyone within the present regime is interested. I don't believe that anyone is. I don't believe that there's anybody in the present lineup, that isn't actually. Present management lineup, sorry, that actually wants Shankland. I don't actually think that there is anybody in the club that wants Shankland. I think if they'd wanted Shankland, they would have gone for him in January. But I genuinely don't think there is any interest in Shankland. I think he's outside the trading model. He doesn't fit with the trading model. That obviously is one of the things. I was wondering why the Butland announcement was made today. Thought Tav might have got a rest. Thank fuck. Tunux says, you're right, Igman is a young striker, but who he's training and learning from. Dessers. Sterling on the bench. What's his best position? Clement has him. We'll get to that. Yeah, Graham, look, I agree, the age thing, but I don't think that it's comparing like with like. I genuinely don't. I think, Lamine Yamal is a talent. The guy is one of the best players in world football. I mean, the kid is Messi-esque, Ronaldo-esque, Musiala-esque. He's on that sort of level. He's that sort of different class. He is just on another planet. Dio is not in the same talent bracket as Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal is to me is a natural talent. He's a natural footballer. He's naturally gifted. He doesn't need to be coached. Whereas I think Diamande can still learn and still develop with coaching. Whereas I think Lamine Yamal is actually just different class. The lad is just on another level to anything at this moment in time. And yeah, I know he's only 17, but he is just, I don't think what you've got with Yamal can be coached. Whereas I think with Diamande, he's got elements that can be coached and can be improved. The same way that Ronaldo was never really a player you could coach. Messi was never a player you could coach to get better. They're just natural talents. And you have these players that come generationally that are just different talents, different quality, just different level to anything else. Whereas I do think that Dio and a lot of the younger players, haven't got that level of talent, so still need to develop. Sterling on the bench, what's his best? That's a great, I don't know. I think Sterling has kind of been the victim of his own success. He really has. He's because he can play right wing, he can play left wing, he can play CDM, he can play right back, he can play left back. I genuinely think that he's kind of pushing himself out of a position. I think if he'd been allowed to come in and actually play right back, right from the very beginning, if he'd been allowed to, actually develop himself as a right back at the club, we may have actually seen that he was the right back starting today. But I think, and I believe that because he's become such a player that plays so many different positions and does them well, he's kind of made himself such a quality utility player that he has to be on the bench, because if someone goes off injured, like a Raskan, like a Barron, like a Cass, like a Hjefte, like a Cherney, he can come on and do all those roles. So he's kind of made himself too useful to be a utility player to actually then have a specialist position. And I agree with what Thomas says here. Sterling's a better defender. I would have actually liked to seen Sterling play as a central defender today ahead of Robin Prop. I don't rate Robin Proper in the slightest. P. Curry says, Raskin and Barron are like Rottweilers. They absolutely are. The problem with Cyril is that he's a decent striker, but he's just not suited to Rangers and Scottish football. We have to be more careful with future signings. I agree with you on the second point. I don't agree with you on the first point. I don't think he's a decent striker. I think he's shit. Young players flourish with good, mature players around them. We're not quite in that place. Never understood why Raskin was overlooked, particularly. I like Raskin. I think he's a very, very good player. If we go a couple up, Fraser needs some time. I agree. Kenny Thompson says, that's the sort of team I want to see. Let's bring JD in as a striker coach. That James from Hart would be worth a buy. Need time with Dio to be the player we want, probably can become. Agree. Don't think Messi made it to the level without being coachable. What I'm saying is, spinning flipping bird, is he's got difficulties. What I'm trying to say is that Yamal and Ronaldo and Messi have just got a natural God-given talent that singles them out as just such individually brilliant footballers that nobody else is on that level, that they've got a different level of talent, a different level of quality. As someone who's coached, you sometimes have people that you just don't need to pay as much attention to or to develop as much, because they're just naturally gifted. They naturally see where to run. They naturally see where to pass the ball. They naturally see how to beat a player, naturally see how to finish. There we go. I suppose you think I'm talking, okay, fine, mate. If you think I'm talking pish exposed, fine. But I think you're talking shite, because at the end of the day, Messi, Yamal, they've got a natural talent. They've got an extra level of talent. None of the players in the Rangers squad have the same level of talent as Lamine Yamal, Lionel Messi, Musiala, Ronaldo, any of those players. And I think, you clearly exposed to showing that you have zero understanding of the game. So happy Tavernier is not starting. Me too, JN. Watching the Chelsea game at the moment, 1-0, a lot of good games on today. There's Liverpool-Arsenal later. Hopefully Liverpool smash Arsenal. Is Dio in the 10 and we are persisting with it? Or I prefer a flat 3. I would say Scott is going to play in the 10 today. I really do believe that he will play in the 10 today. I think that's where he's going to pop up and push further forward. I mean, to be honest with you, when he played at Midtjylland, he did play further forward, mate. He really did play further forward. So I think, that's where he's going to play. What's wrong with Sterling? He's a good. I don't nothing, mate. Nothing, mate. Is this dude drunk? No. Whatever. There's some right fucking pricks on this. There's some right absolute tubes on here this afternoon. Agree, Robert? Yeah. Awake souls and exposed. You're both pricks. Among the Gunners says trying Scotsman. I hope they get stuff this afternoon, man. I fucking hate Arsenal. Absolutely can't stand Arsenal. I can't stand any. I'll be honest with you. Trying Scotsman. I don't like any London teams. As someone who's born in England, as someone who comes from the north of England, we hate London. We absolutely hate London. He's on the bench, Sid. We absolutely hate London here. And I hate any London team. I hate West Ham. I hate Chelsea, all those things. Just a reminder on the team. And he's getting awake souls. Look, we've got a Celtic fan in the house. The obsessed are back. The obsessed are back. Awake souls, you're a very sad man. If you've got nothing better to do in your life than come on here and onto a Rangers channel to troll on a Rangers channel, you really are a very sad little man. I would suggest that you get back to your wife, who is also your sister. Okay, Sterling's on the bench. Yes, just agree. Let's have a look at this team again. Butland is in the goal, the captain. Back four is Cass, Balogun, Proper, and Hjefte. Midfield: Barron, Raskin, and Dio. Cheney, Bayrami, and Igaman. I would honestly say that is the strongest team. I believe that is the strongest team. I honestly believe that this is the strongest team that we've got to play at this moment in time. I do believe that this is the strongest team that we've got at the moment. Realistically, you look at the bench and there's no one that can come into that can really improve that team. I mean, I don't think that obviously Kelly's not better than Butland. Tav's not better than anybody. Dessers is awful. Dowell, no, don't see Dowell as a player. Sterling, yeah, I think Sterling could come in place Proper, don't get me wrong. McCausland, no. Fraser, no. McKinnon, no. Lovelace, no. I mean, realistically, the only player that you would bring in perhaps that would actually strengthen this team a little bit is Cortez. That you'd bring in Cortez for Diamande, put Bayrami in the 10, Cortez left, Cheney right. I think that's probably the strongest lineup, but I don't think we're going to see him anytime soon. I mean, I honestly believe that Cortez is going to be done for a long period of time. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you did, mate. You missed the 3 cheers. I truly fail to see why you don't support our team. You spend on a Rangers podcast, life must suck. I truly fail to see why you don't support our team. Kenny, you're talking shit, mate. I do support our team. I just don't like James Tavernier or Cyril Dessers. I don't get your point, Kenny. You're talking crap again, mate. You know what? Kenny, give your head a little wobble. Have a little lie down and you'll be fine. Hadji got other game banned. This is his last game. So, yeah, Hadji can come back for the next game. Kenny, your point is just utterly irrelevant, mate. If you want to come back, come back. But other than that, you're talking shit. Oh, sorry, Kenny. I do apologise. I apologise. My apologies. I thought you were getting at me. Kenny, I am very, very sorry. Sorry. I do apologise. A corpse is not great on Dio. There's people who don't like Dio. Yes, it is Sid. This is the last game he will miss. Dio needs to get close to Igman. I think he does. Yeah, he does honestly need to get close. Yeah, Kenny, I am very, very sorry. I thought you were getting at me. I'm just not in the mood for people then getting at me today. I've decided that when it comes to people having a go and people having a go at me and calling me and saying and calling me things, I'm just going to go full Mark Goldbridge on them. I'm going to give them it back with both barrels like he does. And I don't care really, genuinely any care anymore because, if you let that shit get to you, you'll go mad. You really will. Look, this team, I think today has the potential to do very well. I mean, it really does. I think it's a quality team. I think Clement's actually showed some balls for a change and he's picked, I think, like I said, it is probably Les Cortez, the strongest team we've got. I think realistically, you can put Oscar Cortez in there. It really is. He is probably the one player, the one player that could, actually come into this team and improve them. I really do. But, I think this is probably the strongest we've got at this moment in time. Let's have a look at the St Mirren team. If I can find it, I'm going to try and pull the St Mirren team up for today's game. Let's have a look at their team for today's game. Let's have a look. There's, what's he called? Here we go. Right, I'm going to try and share screen now, so bear with. Let's have a look. Where are we going? Present. I'll get to your comments in a minute. Mark Goldbridge. Mark Goldbridge is always mad. He's completely off his head, mate. He's just absolute loony. Goldbridge was a Forest. Goldbridge, no, he was never a Forest fan. He went to Forest as a kid with his dad. And then when his dad left, he then went to Manchester United with his granddad. I think that's pretty much. Right, so their lineup today is Balcom, Tanza, O'Hara, Kilty, Gogic, Scott, Dunn, Olusanya, fresh from the Ted Lasso show, Fraser, Bawumno, and Phillips. Their subs are Aminsky, Penman, Smythe, Boyd Muntz, Adinraman, Idowu, McMenamin, Younger, and Mikel Mandron. So they're coming. I mean, their form is pretty poor. I mean, they're coming off the back of some bad performances. I am happy, CJ, very happy. Andrew Leach says, Owen, great pod you have. Good interaction with your fan base. Try to get on and watch as many as possible. As many what as possible, mate? Try to watch as many what as possible, Andrew. You mean other pods? I ain't got time, mate. I genuinely haven't got time. So I did about Goldbridge. He is funny. True, should have acted faster. Wolf, I did, yeah, absolutely. Look, so it's the most obvious team going by previous performances. Just poor it took Phil this long to act. I agree, CJ. Absolutely poor that it took him this long to act. But it's nice to show that he's finally shown some balls and actually picked, a decent team for once. The team has been scrolling on the bottom of the screen for a little while, guys. If you haven't already seen it, Butland in goal, Cass at right back, Balogun, Proper, Chiefte, Barron, Dio, and Raskan, Cheney, Igaman, and by Rami. Yeah, I mean, CJ, please don't say that. Please don't say that. No, it starts at 3 o'clock, mate. The game starts at 3 o'clock. Okay, so game starts at 3 o'clock this afternoon. So we are going to be live. We are going to bring you a live watch along here on the channel. Look, if you want the best watch alongs, if you want the only watch alongs that are, just genuinely the best, and there's not fake like other watch alongs, this is the place to come to. The Edinburgh Derby has finished 1-1. Mikola Kukarevic scored for Hibs after 65 minutes. That goal was then equaled by James Wilson on 87 minutes. All that leaves Hibs bottom and Hearts second bottom of the table. St Mirren currently third bottom in this. Killy fourth bottom. I mean, who'd have had that at the start of the season? Who'd have had St Mirren, Hearts, Hibs and Killy down the bottom of the table at this stage of the season? English Premier League current scores: Palace 0, Tottenham 0 after 14 minutes, Chelsea 0, Newcastle 0 after 15 minutes, West Ham 0, Man United 0 after 15 minutes. Personally, hope Tottenham, Newcastle, and West Ham win those games today. Who's the whiskey team? He's called Walker, I think his name is, mate. No, I tried to watch as many of your videos. Sorry, it didn't work. No worries, problem. No problems, mate. Who wants to invest? It's a guy called Walker, who's a whiskey guy. Not football related, but since it's Sunday, there's a good series to watch called From Recommend It Bears. Okay, there we go. Hearts and Hibs are both pish. Wilson looked a decent youngster. There we go. Most United Stand subscribers are in other parts of the world. Well, yeah, he gets. I mean, have you seen some of the super chats he gets? They're frigging mental. Yeah, the currencies all along the world. What about? Imagine if Cass and Hams are getting into the search. Please don't say that. Billy Walker, that's the guy who sold his whiskey business for 285 million. He's a diehard Blue Nose and apparently is interested in investing in the club, but not as a primary investor. He is interested in being part of something. So whether that's investing in the current board or whether that he's interested in kind of, I don't know, coming in with someone else. I don't know what the situation is, but he has expressed an interest in investing in Rangers, which is interesting, definitely interesting. Free kick foul, Tav is the man. I mean, yeah, why don't we go down the hockey route? I mean, I don't think any of you ever seen hockey. I mean, field hockey. I don't mean ice hockey, but in field hockey, when they have a short corner, they bring someone on from the bench just to hit the short corner and then take them off. In relation to Johnny Walker, no, I don't think he is, mate. I don't think he is. Drop Tav Wednesday, but it won't happen, sadly. Yeah, or I think in ice hockey as well, they have the penalty play teams as well. When a team's got a penalty play, they bring on a special group of players just for that penalty play. Maybe we should do that for corners and penalties. What happens if we get a pen? Trying Scots, but that's a great question. Who takes it? Guys, who takes the penalties for Rangers today? That's a good question. Guys, drop me a comment. Of that lineup, who would you back to take the penalties today? I'm going to go either Nadim Bayrami or... Mate, I'm struggling. Nadim Bayrami or Václav Černý. That's what I'm going for. Okay, I'm going for Černý or Bayrami to take any penalties we get. Current poll, guys. Obviously, we've got a poll running in the live chat. What do you think the result will be today? Please make sure you voted in that poll. Thoughts, feelings, hopes. Another question for you guys. Has your vote changed as a result of seeing the team? So 96% say Rangers win, 2% St Mirren win, 1% say draw. Let's have a look. So Barron to take the penalty. All those up at 3 a.m. to watch the hockey. Lol. Benji for penalties, says CJ. The forward, crazy opinion. Yeah, Igman. Yeah, good point. Butland. Chiefte. Get Jack. Butland scared me the other night with that blunder start he did. Dio, says Airwolf. Yeah, I don't know. It could be any of them, couldn't it? Could be any of them. Big Leon. Let Big Leon take it. I'd love Big Leon to score. I'd love Big Leon to score. I absolutely love Big Leon. It's interesting, isn't it? You know, we've had votes in the past and we've never, ever had this amount of votes, you know, this amount of positivity towards a result in this game, a Rangers game. We've had uncertainty before, you know, 70, 80% certainly. But this, I think, you know, I think a lot of this is reflective of the team, to be honest with you, you know, what the current team selection is. What, Cass to take it, mate? Cass to take it. Rangers win always, says Andy. If we win these next 2 games, are we back? Lol. Oh, mate, you know, look, I don't know. I mean, I think if we go up to Pittodrie and we win, look, a draw to me is not good enough up there. We've got to beat them because, you know, at the end of the day, we need to start closing the gap on them and Celtic. We can't afford to drop points. For me, we're not back, Aldo, until we beat Celtic. You know, until we actually beat Celtic. I don't think we're back. That's the big thing for me. We've got to beat Celtic. Well, the captain takes all the free kicks. I can't see Butland doing it. CJ, it will be good to see when we're 5-0 up. Draw a lost Wednesday. I don't know, mate, what the situation will be Wednesday. I really don't. I think that's a whole different ball park. We'll what's the word? Cross the bridge when it comes to it. Yeah, we'll cross the bridge when it comes to it. Right, guys, we are going to be back in 25 minutes for the live stream. You know, please obviously come and join us for that. Like, the best place for live streams. Ignore all the other fake live streams. We are here for you, ready for the live stream at 3 o'clock. It starts at 2:45, guys. So come and join us for that. Thanks for watching this breaking news podcast. Just a reminder of the team. There is the team as we go on the way out. Thank you for watching. We'll be back in about 25 minutes for the live stream. Guys, we are the people.